All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Carmel Unified and North Monterey County Unified School District Joint Town Hall to share with you some information about independent study programs that are available for our students. We're going to start off here in a moment with some quick introductions. I'm going to explain a little bit about why independent study options are important to us and the district partnership we've developed with North Monterey County. And then we are going to hand it off to the leadership team over at North Monterey County to go through their program so you can get a little bit more information about what it is that they are doing for students over there. And then finally, we'll hand it back over to Paul Behan from Carmel Unified to discuss the process to transfer your student from Carmel Unified to North Monterey County if you so choose after watching the presentation tonight. We can go to the next slide, Paul. We can start with some introductions. I am Ted Knight. I'm the new superintendent here at Carmel Unified. And again, want to welcome everyone tonight. I have a few members of my team with me tonight. Blaise Girolamo, our Chief Academic Officer, Paul Behan, our Chief Technology Officer, and our Administrative Assistant, Trissa Zarevich. From North Monterey County, we have Superintendent Kari Yater, Krisha Kerr-Poole, the Coordinator of Ed Tech and Distance Learning, and Yvette Padilla, Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent. So recent requirements have encouraged school districts to offer independent options, independent study options for students who may feel that their health is at risk by returning to in-person instruction. Carmel Unified will be starting full in-person instruction in the next couple of weeks, and we want to make sure that we offer all of our students who don't feel comfortable coming back to that in-person setting an opportunity. We can meet that requirement by contracting with another local school district, and I'll talk here in a few minutes about why we chose North Monterey County for that partnership. But we definitely feel that it's important to partner with another school district that has a high quality option for students, and we've partnered with them for some years. We do have to notify parents and guardians of their option to enroll child in in-person instruction or independent study. We've done that in a letter out to parents and also are using this opportunity tonight to not only notify you that you have that option, but hopefully to give you as much information as possible so that you can make an informed decision for your child. You see here, these next three bullets talk a little bit about what the requirements are for independent study. At transitional kindergarten through third grade, you have to have daily live instruction. Grades 4 through 8, you have to have weekly live instruction with opportunities for daily live instruction. And finally, weekly synchronous instruction for students that are at the high school level. We also need to make sure that there are written learning agreements before a student takes an independent study course, and our friends at North Monterey County will talk a little bit more about that. But we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to talk with parents and students and make sure that this opportunity is going to be a great fit. On our next slide here, I want to talk a little bit just about why we chose to partner with North Monterey County versus running our own independent study program here at Carmel Unified. So there are a few challenges to creating an independent study program, and North Monterey County has perfected those over the last couple decades. With a school district as small as ours with 2,300 students, it's very difficult to pull staff out of general education classrooms or to ask teachers to teach their normal day and then teach independent study programs on the side. We did not get initial indication that we would have a large number of students who might be interested in independent study, so it just didn't seem feasible to offer our own program. We've had a long-standing partnership with North Monterey County. They have offered independent study classes for our high school students for years and have really done a great job at partnering with our district at making sure that now our TK through 8 students have that same opportunity. They have excellent program. They have an e-school and have numerous options that Carmel Unified just would would not be able to provide. So we felt this was the best option to provide equitable learning for all of our students. I'm now going to turn it over to Dr. Kari Yater, and she's going to talk, I believe, a little bit just about their program, and we'll be back on with you shortly to talk about how you can take advantage of that opportunity if you're a current Carmel Unified family. So thank you very much, and Kari, I will turn it over to you.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here talking with you about our partnership. Kari Yater, superintendent, and I've been the superintendent here in North Monterey County for 10 years. I come from Carmel. I live in Carmel. My kids went to Carmel School District, and I want to assure you all, as a parent of Carmel, as well as the superintendent here, we take pride in offering the very best program for students, a program that I would not hesitate to put my children in if that was their choice. And we also want to let you know that our school and our programs have adapted over the years. We opened in 1980. We're fully accredited by lots of different institutions, which we'll go into in a moment. And now we're adding a virtual e-school that actually serves kindergarten through 12th grade. So one of our roles here is to provide the expertise in how to individualize programs for students, provide that high quality college readiness program, as well as to deliver it in a way that meets the new requirements. So we want to highlight also that if you do graduate from the program, you will have a A to G accreditation for if you meet all your classes. You'll be able to obtain any other certifications going into college. But like you as a parent, maybe that's not your goal and you want to just have a safe place for your child to learn. And we're here to partner with Carmel in making sure that's an option for you. So I'd like to turn this over to our coordinator for educational technology and distance learning, Kirsha Korpool. She's going to go into a little bit more about the new e-school.
Thank you, Superintendent Yater. So thank you again, parents and community, for joining us tonight. And to give you a little bit about our e-school, to start off, I do have a video to show you that gives you just a precursor as to what our program is about and how we will be serving you and your students.
Welcome to North Monterey County Unified School District Virtual e-school.
Pardon me, just one moment. Let's make sure I got the share up properly. Okay. It was slower on my end. Here we are.
Welcome to North Monterey County Unified School District Virtual e-school. As an NMCIS K-12 school of choice, our virtual e-school is a complete learning experience designed with your student in mind, providing virtual independent study options for NMCUSD families, as well as neighboring districts with whom we have an inter-district agreement. We are transforming education through a virtual blended learning e-school environment to bring engaging opportunities to students and families of all backgrounds. Combining virtual learning with optional in-person experiential learning activities, our school partners with families and community to create a safe and supportive learning environment where all students can thrive. Our staff works with student families to develop individualized learning plans to meet students where they are in their academic and social-emotional learning needs. Through goal setting and weekly progress updates, students and families are fully supported on their road to success. At all levels, students are provided a wide range of flexible, engaging, and rigorous academic opportunities. Students experience synchronous Zoom class sessions, both synchronous and asynchronous assignments, supported by teacher office hours and individualized check-ins throughout the week. 9 through 12 courses are UC and NCAA approved, and students can also enroll concurrently in college courses to meet college and career goals. Along with core academics, all K-12 students are offered weekly virtual and live activities based around music, the arts, outdoor education, STEM, civic engagement, and student-based clubs. Students enrolled in independent study are eligible to participate in district events and activities. Join the North Monterey County Unified School District Virtual eSchool to take your learning virtually everywhere.
Hello, North.
All right, and so that gives just a basic outline, and this is available on YouTube, and it will be also available on our school website, our district website, for you to view, again, at your leisure. Our virtual eSchool, we do have further information on our eSchool website. And as you can see, we have enrollment information that you can go to. It tells more about us as being a school of choice. It also details some of the academic and enrichment programs that we're providing. Our courses are all designed and taught by our instructors and our teachers here within our district. It is an online and blended learning environment. And so when students are wanting to get comfortable and get out and do some exploratory or experiential learning, we do have those offerings, and I'll be showing you some of those possible schedules for your students here in a moment. We have opportunities to accelerate learning. We do start with the fundamentals. All of our instruction is standards-based, and we have other enrichment, as I was talking about before, with arts, technology, music, performing arts, and environmental. So for our schedules, this would be a sample schedule for our K-5 elementary. And what you'll find with all of our scheduling is that we're actually not only meeting the bill's prerequisites, but we're exceeding them, in that all of our elementary school students, K through, will be meeting with their supervising teachers daily. So that way they're all set and prepared for their learning for the day and have their interactions socially with their teachers. On our Monday, so this is our sample schedule, and these are all very movable and flexible for our student learning and for what your individual students might need. On Mondays, we do have times where we have staff meetings where we're meeting about student needs, as well as working with students on their weekly student assignment record. This is where parents and students and teachers get together with the supervising teacher to conference every week about the students' progress, what their learning needs are for the week, and what their lessons will be. Then the students will have time to do some asynchronous work, which would be individual at home, but they can also contact their teachers through office hours to get more support and help. Again, throughout the week, every morning we have our morning greeting with our supervising teacher. And it is a daily live session where we do social emotional learning, get them ready for their schedule for the day, and get them started. Then throughout the week, they'll be organized in various groups for reading, math, their social sciences, and STEM. And throughout that time, they also, so these will be set classes for them that they'll be taking synchronously with their instructors. And then there will be some times when they will be working asynchronously on the assignments that are given. We have some flexible grouping, as you can see here in tan, where the students are put into some smaller groups, depending on maybe what interventions or accelerations they might need. In this case, this particular student has a support time for math, for some math interventions to help them. We also have different available options at the end of the day for them to come in at the end and just kind of do a synchronous review to make sure all students are where they are with their learning for the day and get ready to launch into the next day. After school time, we have options for in-person art exploration field trip for this particular student. We have a lot of outside agencies that we partner with, and we have those opportunities for students if they should choose to meet in person, to go on outings, come onto campus for art exploration, music, and then we also do have virtual options for them to engage in clubs. And in this particular student's schedule, they have a virtual coding class. So that is our sample elementary schedule. For our middle school students, it's serving grades 6 through 8. Again, they have the same thing where they will be conferencing weekly with their supervising teacher to develop individualized learning plans, get together with their weekly class schedule, and talk about their learning needs. Then on Tuesdays, every week, they meet with a homeroom with their supervising teacher to get set for the week, get everything organized, because we all know our middle school students, they need a little bit more extra support in getting their weeks organized. Then we have integrated STEM and humanities classes throughout the first portion of the day, where they'll be working on science and math with their STEM. In the humanities, we have art and social science, as well as English language arts. Then throughout the day, the schedules will vary depending on the student's needs, but here you see that there's a STEM science lab for this student. They are in some flexible grouping again for some more math support. There are options also for ELA support in those flexible groupings as students need. And you also see that there are synchronous class times for them to be working individually on coursework as needed. In the middle of the day, there is a synchronous flexible group where they can get classwork support in various areas that they choose for that day, if they should need that support. We also have elective options for the students at the middle school. In this case, this particular student is in an art elective. And so they're having synchronous instruction for their art class twice a week. And they also have signed up to go to an in-person art exploration to go along with that class.
Krisha, we are getting a question. If we could, is there any way to zoom in a little closer on that?
You bet. The schedules, yes.
Yeah.
That was that. Is that better? Okay.
Yeah, if you could even do a little bit more, at least on my screen.
Okay. There we are.
That looks good to me.
Okay. And we also do have the links to this, and you have this, you'll have the slideshow to be able to link to our webpage after. And so I will take a look. I'm going to go back to that elementary schedule again, just so you can take a look to see what that elementary schedule looks like. Thank you for asking. Yeah. Yeah, and each one of these, again, are individualized for your individual student and their needs. And so as far as some of the math groupings and support classes that you see in there, there's an SEL group. So if we have students that have social emotional supports or other things that they might need, they might be a part of a group or even a one-on-one with maybe some of our counselors that we have on site. And that's available to all grade levels as well.
And then a question came up that I know we don't want to interrupt too much with questions in the middle, but about where the locations for those explorations would be.
Yes, those locations are going to vary depending on the exploration. Some of them we might meet at a school site and go out. So we have our Pacific Grove site as well as our Prunedale site, but then we also have various locations where we can meet, at libraries or even in Carmel to have students do some of these exploratory options as well. And for our high school, this would be a sample schedule. We have lots of options for our high school students as well. We have opportunities for them, again, on Mondays. They will be meeting with their supervising teacher and throughout the week as it's scheduled for them to set up their schedule for their courses. We have, like the middle school, a weekly homeroom launch for everyone to get organized and set and get started on their classes and get that support right at the beginning of the week. You can see in this student's schedule that they have a math class that they're taking in the morning. So they have the in-person instruction or synchronous instruction on Tuesdays, and then again on Fridays, and time for that asynchronous work, or if they would like to contact a teacher for office hours and get extra support on the Wednesdays. You'll also notice that this student has a concurrent enrollment. And as seen in the video, we do have agreements with the 4 community colleges within our area for students to be taking concurrent enrollment courses. And this particular student is taking psychology. So their time is blocked out for them to be able to go however they're delivering their instruction. We have them also set up a combined English history course for their grade level. for the synchronous instruction. And you'll also notice that there are English language supports for the learning labs. We have SEL supports, as I was discussing with the elementary, so they can get counseling, be in maybe some small support groups if need be. And we have different flexible times for math supports for the students, as well as the ELA. And then as we had in the middle school schedule, there is a synchronous flexible group time where it's basically like an open tutorial where they can go to a math support, they can go to get some support on an art topic if they would like, if they're working in art or any of their elective classes. So it's just giving them, again, more of that support from their instructors, as well as some of our tutors that we have available. For the electives, we have the gamut of electives. In this particular case, we have Spanish 3 that this student is taking in the afternoon, as well as participating again in one of our many activities that we offer. So in this case, they're doing a civic engagement with Ventana outdoor field study. We have a number of different options for our students at the high school level to where they are able to enroll all of our courses we have that are A through G UC approved courses. We have a vast number of elective offerings. If they wish to participate in CTE, they can elect to do so at North Monterey County High School at the in-person CTE program, or we also offer some virtually as well through our Apex. Students in high school are also able to enroll in work experience and gain credits for work that they're doing outside of school. And we do have the concurrent enrollment with the local community colleges, as well as AP course offerings. Okay. Do you have any other questions coming through on the tab before I throw it back to you?
I think we can take the rest at the end.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to Carmel.
All right, thank you. I'll take over the screen here. And just want to make sure, Krisha, did we cover all these enrollment next steps? Well, so you're going to complete the transfer. The transfer will start with Carmel Unified. Let's make sure I'm actually sharing. Are you seeing enrollment next steps now, folks? Okay. It's because you're a Carmel Unified student, so the inter-district transfer request starts with us, and we'll show you in a minute the link to that and walk you through that form. Then you'd complete the application and enrollment with North Monterey County Unified. There's an email address that you can send the paperwork to. And once it's all received, then North Monterey does an intake meeting with the parent guardian and the student. And then you meet with your teacher to complete your agreement and set up the schedule. Any more you want to say about that, Krisha?
Yes, and I'll go ahead and take them through our enrollment portion on the site so they can see that. So on our site, we have the enrollment area that you can go to, and you'll be looking at, in your particular situation, the right-hand side to, you'll be, as Paul was saying, you would contact your district to do the inter-district transfer. We have our applications for the eSchool here that you would fill. They are fillable PDF forms. You would download them and complete them, and you can electronically sign. Then also download and complete our enrollment form. And then you would submit all of this documentation to our eSchool email. And we also, if you have a student that has particular needs such as IEP or 504, we do ask that you include that paperwork along with that submission. Oh, the question. So this is our application for admission into the program for our eSchool. We have some questions just to ask you about independent study, so that way we can make sure we're best serving you and your students' needs in terms of what their needs might be, what aspects you have in terms of where they'll be receiving their education, whether it be at home or maybe if you're doing a cohort. And just how familiar you are and what access you do have. We do provide district issued Chromebooks and as well as hotspots as those are needed. Yes. And again, if you have need for special services on IEPs, please do fill out this section, and we will be meeting with families individually to discuss those options. And also with the home district as well, to make sure that we're able to make those services for your student. Yes, and now we'll come back again to Paul.
All right, again, can you see my screen? Okay, so to our transfer processes. So I'm hoping that you're seeing what a rich program, what kind of supports are available at North Monterey County is able to offer. So, well, how do you start the process? It's here. We'll have this link on the front page of our website. We've also sent it out in a couple of emails to all parents in the past couple weeks. It's a very short online application, and I will do just a sample so you can see it. So when you first log in, it's going to ask you for your name and your email address, and then it'll show you a sample of the screen. And I'll make my screen a little bit larger so that's a little more visible to you. And then I just click on the Go to Form button, and everything that's in red is what I need to fill out. So I would just say, well, let's pretend I'm from Captain Cooper School. And let's say I've got my student's name here, last name, first name, date of birth, and so on. I'll have maybe a first grader. And then if your student has either special education, either an IEP or a 504 plan, this is where you would choose that. And if you make that selection, this would be another flag for both Carmel and North Monterey County to make sure we're working closely with you to meet the students' needs on those plans. You don't have to be too detailed on the, on the reason. But you can be, more specific if there's some very specific needs that you'd like to get out there. But remember, you've also got the intake form at North Monterey County if you really want to get detailed. And then you're just going to fill in your name, your phone number, your address, city, and state, and so on. I just had to get this far because I wanted to use this parent name. I don't know if you can see it, but, and it's really, that's it. You'll just fill out those red pieces and click to sign and then submit the form. And of course, it is going to make me fill this out after all. So I will type some very gobbledygook type of stuff. Okay, and then you just go ahead and send it. It'll go to amedina@carmelunified.org. That is Anna Medina in the Student Services Office here in Carmel. You could also see this to yourself or to your spouse. Just put a comma between multiple emails if you're going to use that. It's got a built-in subject, which you can change if you'd like, and it's got a message, which you don't have to change. And then so we're just going to go ahead and hit send. And now that will end up in a queue for Anna Medina in my office. And then you'll get a response screen saying, thank you for submitting. One of the nice things about the way we've set this up is not only does it go to Anna, but everybody on our teams, both at North Monterey County and Carmel Unified, can look at the list of people. So far, we've got 6 folks who have filled out this application. I'm going to encourage you, if you're thinking about it, to go ahead and fill out that form. You saw how quick it was. that gets you really in the loop. It's still possible for you to decide after talking more closely to North Monterey that we changed our mind, but we really encourage you to get into the loop so that we can make sure that North Monterey has a slot for you, and that all that planning can be done so that your kid can hit the ground running when school starts. By the way, I did want to clarify, at North Monterey County, our first day is the 9th of August. What's your first day?
Our first day is Wednesday, the 11th.
Okay.
And what we do with our independent study students, because we have to get that master agreement done before the first day of school, we would be scheduling appointments at least the week before so that we could get you started right away.
Okay. All right, and then we have a few other topics to talk about. Again, can you guys see my screen? Other topics? All right. So we heard this in Krisha's presentation: books, materials, and supplies, and hotspots, devices. North Monterey County can provide those. There's also a location. Where exactly is the Pacific Grove location?
It's on the David School. We have a shared site there where we've been there forever, and parents could go and drop off materials, pick up materials, meet with the teacher. We also have met families at libraries too, depending on the situation. So we're very flexible, if possible, to set that up with a parent schedule.
Okay, so it's really just over Highway 68, right over the hill. Can you talk a little bit more? You did mention some of the weekly outing locations. I don't know if we need to repeat that. We did talk about the 504s and EPs. You may have questions about athletics, and we're still learning what the rules will be. It looks like they are developing some rules. We think it might be possible for a high school student to participate in North Monterey County athletics. But if you're interested in that, we would need to do a little bit more homework. We can't fully answer that question at this time. If you do attend the independent study program, your record for that period, and this mostly is a high school question, your transcripts would show North Monterey County independent school as your school for those courses you take during the time that your student is there. There's a phone number there for North Monterey County, and there are questions. There's a number for questions for Carmel Unified. This slideshow and the recording that we're doing tonight and the link to the transfer will all be posted on our website tomorrow morning, so you'll be able to access this information. Before we get to questions, is there anything else that anyone on the team here would like to bring up that we'd like to cover? Okay, seeing none. Oh,
Paul, let me just mention on the outings that the outdoor activities, they're optional. And depending on the age and how many students, we would be working with the students around what their interests are and meeting with the families as to the best location. So that would be determined by, whatever's coming up on the calendar, and they are not required as part of the school program. They are optional.
Okay. So just a nice little extra for those folks who choose it. Okay, Tricia, if you could throw any of the questions from the chat out to us.
So the first one is in the provided previously, it was said student could transfer back to CUSD whenever they want. What would be the process, and how long would it take until she gets into a class at CUSD? And are the classes set and available to add student when a situation arises?
Thank you, Trish. I can go ahead and answer that question. So the current agreement does allow students to return back to Carmel Unified. One of the things we would want to talk about, and I would assume North Monterey County is going to want to talk with the parents about when they have that intake meeting, is, are you planning this long-term? Is this for the short term? And we would want to encourage parents to make those changes at times that make the most sense for students. Obviously, having students change school districts in the middle of a school year is difficult. You will have that opportunity, but we would hope to partner with you to have a conversation about when that transfer might make the most sense. To the second part of your question, yes, if you're transferring back in, say, at the middle school or high school, some of those electives, some of those classes that your child might have wanted could be full by the time you would come back. But we would do our best to make sure that students who are returning would get the classes that they need, obviously for graduation, or the classes that they are most passionate in. But yes, as a parent, you have that option. Please work with North Monterey County and with your current Carmel School District to help make a collaborative decision that we all feel is the best timing for your child.
Do you have to enroll if you've already done an inter-district transfer form?
Yes, we do need you to enroll because the information that we need as a new school would need your address, your contact information, and it's actually an official enrollment into the program. So the transfer is just an agreement between Carmel and North County about assuming responsibility for the education of students, and that's our partnership. But the enrollment provides us with all the information that we then can reach out to you and also schedule a time for you to come in and get you set up for that appointment to really get your student going, and also to talk with you about the week schedule, any types of things that you want us to be aware of in serving your student.
Answered this, so I'm just going to repeat it real quick. What are the locations for explorations? And you stated that it varies depending on the exploration need, and the various locations or areas in North Monterey County, Pacific Grove, and potentially Carmel. When will your students' individualized programs assessed and determined?
So the school has been WASC accredited for a long time now, over and over again. And so, you know, we are fully accredited. We have a review every 3 years. It's a 6-year accreditation right now. So we do follow all of our standards. We are a public school. We follow all of the guidelines of the school. We have A to G approved coursework in the high school. Our middle school coursework is aligned with other middle school requirements. So in terms of the assessing of the program, where we do look at it is we do look at how many of our students are making adequate progress in their learning objectives. We do look at completion rates for students in our high school passing classes and meeting their A to G on track to graduation. And one of the challenges, though, as you may imagine, is that students coming into the independent study program option in the e-school and then leave to return back to their school for a variety of reasons. We've had athletes who have been in competitions and are traveling, and so they have a different situation. We serve students who have very unique needs, medical needs, social emotional needs, kids who are behind, kids who are on track, kids who want to take dual classes at community college. So when you think of progress, we look at each student and we make sure that whatever their goals are with their family, that they're meeting those goals. And if they are wanting to return back to their school, that they're able to do so when they have set that goal.
Was it determined what supports the child would need, like social emotional support, math, etc.?
Yeah, so we do have assessments that we do for reading, math, coursework, as anyone would do. We often assess student learning. And if we have done some screening and the student is missing some critical skills, we will provide that support and intervention and support to catch them up. As far as social emotional learning, we have fully trained academic and mental health counselors that support our students. And so we would work with the student and the family to determine if there's particular supports that they need. And we definitely work with the family. We have a variety of services that we can provide, and we do provide at the Pacific Grove site. And that is something that we are very proud of, that we have full wraparound services for any student that may need it.
How much of a day can be in person through exploratory classes and other?
Again, that's when it comes to the exploratory classes, most of those are coming at the end of the day, where we're having outings that are optional again. And those again, would be dependent on those explorations. If it's a field trip, that might be, you know, a few hours if we have that availability. And then for some of the other ones, it might be a STEM piece. It may be an hour and a half long that they're doing, maybe some arts integration. So it would really, again, it kind of depends on those outings. And as Dr. Yater, or as Superintendent Yater has mentioned earlier, it really is around student voice and choice as well. So it's developed around student interests.
We'll be sending a link to the website, and then as far as following instruction with enrolling, we'll have this video available for everyone so that you can revisit it if needed and make sure that it's clear you know where to go.
Tricia, yeah, I want to clarify a couple of things. The video may take more than one day to finish to be ready to be posted, but the other information we'll post on the website. I think we'll also send another blanket email to all parents with some of these critical links that we've talked about tonight.
For the session today, some of the Carmel Middle's 8th grade advanced classes are considered for high school credit. Is that available at NMCIS?
Yes, any student that needs to accelerate learning, we will provide them with that coursework. We have 8th graders who've taken Math 1 or whatever their advanced classes are. Depending on how, if they go back to Carmel High School, or we typically will look at what they took, and the counselors will work with them to take the next higher class and make sure they're on track to whatever they want to take in high school.
A student is this program best suited?
No one's type of student. I think the most important thing that I would share with you is that it's a partnership for success between the student, the family, and the school and the teacher. So if your student is struggling and needs a different way to learn, if your student's accelerating and wants to learn in a different way or faster, we've had all sorts of different types of students be very successful. But we also need to be constantly working together so we can adjust and support our students to make sure that they get what they need.
A full year commitment that we need to make now before the school year begins. For example, if in-person school ends in fall, would we still be able to transfer to North Monterey a few months after school begins?
So from our perspective, it's not a full year commitment, but I would want to give Ms. Yater the opportunity to kind of speak about the challenges if you wait to enroll and how difficult that might make it for them to create class lists and class schedules and get your child in the right classes.
I think we do have the ability to adjust. It happens to us, especially in the high school, and we can customize that. We can do that if it's a kind of a homeschooling thing where the parent's working with us and the student. When we're doing these classes, we're having the synchronous daily instruction. We would just need to kind of manage the number of students that any particular teacher's working with, because we want to make sure that students, especially virtually, have the support and attention that they need. So we would definitely welcome any application, but as mentioned, we do need to make sure that if students who are already enrolled, they would continue on with their classes, and we may have to support and work with the family more on a one-on-one until we could make room for additional students.
To transfer back to Carmel Unified.
So again, the process on the transfer back would be fairly easy. What we would ask for as parents is that you really work with North Monterey County, as well as your principal or your teacher here in Carmel, and make sure that we're collectively making that decision at the right time for the student. But the process should be fairly quick and fairly painless for you as a parent.
To wait for acceptance after submitting interdistrict transfer form, or just go ahead and enroll now?
Can I take that? I think we were sitting on our application forms for a week as we were having some people not available in the office to finish processing them, but they all being now forwarded to North Monterey County. I think as long as you've got the format where I can't really think of a condition that we're not going to approve the transfer unless there's particular IEP needs that are best met here in Carmel. Other than that, for most students, I think we're going to just naturally approve that, and then we can work concurrently with North Monterey and Carmel. So Carmel to sort of formalize that you're asking for the request, and at the same time you're doing some of the intake at North Monterey County. Have I got that right, Krisha and Kari?
Yeah, well, we would like you to go ahead and fill out that application form and enrollment form simultaneously. We can work with you to make sure the transfer form is processed from Carmel to North County.
Next question you've already answered. It was basically asking, are outings required? It kind of defeats the purpose of distance learning for health reasons, and that has already been answered. Again, we already answered about the weekly. It was another question about that. Will students with IEPs be given instruction by a resource specialist or a general education teacher?
So any student on a individual plan, like an IEP or 504, we would meet and confer with the parent and also Carmel Unified to decide what the best way to deliver that service is. We do provide resource support or supports for students and accommodations, but each student's IEP is different. And so we would need to have that conversation just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Monterey County after CUSD receives the application.
And so just to clarify in this particular question, as we will be receiving the applications on our end, so the applications and the enrollments, and we contact right after we receive those. And also if you're emailing us, we have a form that we're keeping track of all of our contacts to make sure that you're getting, that hands-on information from us. And so please do make sure that you submit the applications and the enrollment through the email, the eschool@nmciusd.org. And once we receive those, we are in contact with you. So that way we can begin the intake process as long as all the interdistrict transfer paperwork and everything is also completed.
And I just want to clarify, Krisha, they might be thinking that the interdistrict transfer form is an application. So
correct.
That's the first step in the process, then go to the application with you guys.
Any questions that have been received in that don't pertain to tonight's topic, we will reach out to you and have a conversation and make sure someone reaches out to answer those. So I'm going to go ahead and skip that piece. What is the plan if a shutdown is required again?
So Trish, I think that might be, something that we'll discuss at another time. We would, students are not going to have to leave North Monterey County and come back. Their school is already set up that way. But if we have to pivot to a different learning mode or a different posture, we would work with parents on that in the future. And we will be on both of these questions that kind of pertain more to school in general versus independent study. We'll be sending a letter out later this week and having another town hall opportunity on some of the specific details about the first few weeks of school at Carmel Unified. So stay tuned for more information on that.
How are grades determined for students?
Grades are determined as they are in a traditional class setting. It would be determined on coursework that's completed and assessed by our teachers, and also assessments individually with the students. And so it is just as it would be in a traditional school setting.
How often can students get help tutoring?
Yeah. In the sample schedule, we have quite a few different areas where students do get the learning supports. We have office hours daily that they can make appointments to work with their teachers if they have questions, but we also have small group instruction time where they get even a little bit smaller class size for helping those math supports. We have specific classes for that as well. And so it's really set up to allow students that flexible environment for them to get that one-on-one or even just small group assistance.
Are enrolled in the program and within each age group band?
Teacher.
Yeah, so in our virtual school, like we have a K2 band, if you will. Depending on the number of students, we group students by grade level or age appropriateness. We sort of staff around what we would normally do with a class, which is like right now in our lower grades, we're about 20, that's no more than 24 ever. Probably in virtual learning with the younger kids, we'll probably have it be smaller. When you get to middle school, we're looking at about 20 to 25 students, depending on the number of students. And like we said, we group students and we individualize the instructions. So it just depends on the number of students enrolled in those grade spans. But we do cap the caseload for each teacher that is assigned to monitor and support their homeroom teacher. And that's true for the high school as well. Our high school is a little bit different. Kids complete courses with the homeroom teacher managing their overall plan and our counselor. And then we have very specific teachers that are subject specialists. So a math teacher teaches math, and English social studies teacher teaches those courses. That's a requirement for highly qualified, highly skilled teachers for A to G.
So I see that we have at least about 7 minutes left. We have 2 questions. We do have one hand up. But is Chinese an elective option for high school students?
Yeah, we don't have it in our standard elective offerings in terms of the synchronous type instruction, but we do have it in our online learning systems as an option.
Will grades be transferred back to CUSD? Will curriculum be similar?
So grades would be on a report card or some kind of a progress report or transcript that would go back to Carmel, and then they would transfer that onto the Carmel's student record. Transcript is typically how it works in high school, and curriculum depends on the district, but we have California approved standards and curriculum, and it's very similar to probably what you offer. It may not be the same name of the book, but it's very much aligned to the same standards and coursework. And most of our classes, actually, I've looked at the high school classes, are very similar. They're all A to G. We have career technical ed pathways that articulate with all of our community colleges. So we're part of that overall JPA. So I would say that they're all standards aligned and approved.
We are asking that if you have the questions, if you can please put them in chat real quick so that we can try to answer that. That was our last question in chat right at the moment, but I would like to give the individual a moment to type in there real quick if you don't mind.
While we're doing that, Tricia, I can go ahead and thank our community for joining us tonight to learn a little bit more about the independent study options. I want to thank my team, you, Tricia, Paul, Blaze, and all the folks behind the scene who got the Zoom ready. Thanks for all your work. Definitely want to thank Kari, Krisha, and Yvette for your work. So that our Carmel stakeholders know we wouldn't have been able to do this without them. They're providing a great service to our students and just providing wonderful opportunities that I don't think we would be able to get done in this short amount of time. So I want to thank them for all of their work. As Paul said earlier, we entrust our students in their care. They're doing great things for their kids. And so I want to thank them for their partnership.
See any more questions that have come in?
We can certainly encourage folks. The phone number here is 624-1546. We're open to answer questions, especially on the questions about transferring out or back in, if you still have a specific question for your student. And then again, we'll be pushing out the information so that you can reach out to North Monterey County. You can even Google them right now. Their website is easy to find, and begin that process if that's something that you're interested for your student.
Kari, any final comments from you?
Just want to let you the families know that we welcome students. We will work with you in partnership. We are partners with Carmel. We appreciate the opportunity to support. We do believe we do a really good job. We've been doing this for a long time. And unfortunately, this last year we had the pandemic, but our team in independent study did everything virtually. So we feel very confident that we can support. And just to remind everyone, our school is a school of choice. So we welcome anyone, but we do want to do it in collaboration with the school district. So we will work with you if you call us, and we'll make sure we partner back to you in Carmel. So we thank you for hosting.
Thank you, Kari. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Have a great night. And as Paul said, please reach out if you have any questions, and we will let you get on with your night. Thank you.